Hi, welcome back to the second episode of a Dose podcast. Firstly, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone who supported that first episode. We got over 1,000 views on YouTube, and we got a bunch of downloads and stuff on Spotify. It's crazy to see all the support, and I'm happy that it's well received. So if you haven't seen that first episode, stop what you're doing right now, go watch that, and then come back to this one. But just to reiterate who we are, I'm T, and I'm with my mentor Tony.
What's going on, y'all? Tony back for the second shot at this shit. Glad to have you guys back, and we really appreciate how much support we've been seeing from all this. With that being said, go ahead, pop it off.
Cool. So we had a bunch of different options or a bunch of different things that people wanted us to talk about on this episode. And as a lot of you know, I'll constantly be talking about my mentor. And I mean, I talked about in the last episode, like I've constantly paying homage to him and the things that he's taught me. So one person asked me, he said, how do I find a mentor? And this is going to be an interesting question because one, not only do we have this dynamic between myself and Tony, but also because obviously I'm in my 20s, Tony's in his 30s. So it's like we've had different kind of experience in terms of mentors. So firstly, what I would say is in terms of how to find a mentor, there's a saying that goes, the teacher appears once the student is ready. And this is something that it boggles my brain for a very long time in the sense of what does that even mean? And it means that if you're a bum, no one's going to want to mentor you. That's the truth, bro. Like, if you're a person who has nothing going for you, no one's going to mentor you because what value would they provide? Or what could they do to your life to where it's actually going to be helpful to you? Because you're not in a position to where you're actually showing some kind of promise or some kind of future to where the advice which they give you will actually be beneficial. So in terms of how to find a mentor, it first comes down to who you are as a man and where you are in life. If you're in a place to where someone can tell you've got some kind of potential, you've got some kind of energy or destiny about yourself, they're going to want to mentor you because with mentoring, or from what I understand with mentoring, is that it's almost like they see like a little bit of them in you. They can see like some kind of thing that resonates with them that they want to like kind of nurture that in you in order to take you to that next level. As case of, in terms of finding a mentor, if you can pay for one, I'd recommend you do that in terms of the value which you get from the cash outlay will be so much bigger than the actual money itself. So let's say you pay $1,000 for a mentor for a month. If it's someone who's actually like knows what they're talking about and they actually have some game to give you, the value which you get from that will be so much bigger than that grand which you pay out. But if you can't pay, then it's a matter of positioning. So I'll just let you know, I didn't exactly go out to find a mentor. I just kind of walked into my path almost. And all I can say is God is good. You know what I mean? So in terms of what happened with me, so I actually met Tony through Yak. So he was just liking some of my, or not liking, he was commenting on some of my stories and stuff. He's commenting in, just adding a little bit of game and stuff. And then I started asking him questions, just started popping stuff at him. And then eventually we just started having like long conversations over the DMs. And then it ended to the point to where he said something along something like of you get a mentor by, or they'll give you their number, then you can speak to them from there. So I said, okay, cool. Can I get your number? And when he gave me his number from there, I mean, the rest is history, essentially. So with that kind of thing, I got Tony as a mentor through the fact that I had created Yak and I had shown that I had a certain level of game. And then that's when he's taken me to that next level, and then he's going to continue taking me to that next level. So, in your opinion, Tony, how do you feel like the best way to get a mentor?
You know what? The real thing that really made me want to like push on you and teach you was the fact that you really wanted to learn. Like you were really hungry for it. And that kind of hunger and desire, it's not something you can really fake. You know, you were hungry for it, and I saw that. And that hunger, more than anything, is what really breeds potential in people. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't even have any natural ability. Like when you're really hungry for it and you're really pushing, someone sees that in you and they see that you're the person to help. You know, rather than because I wasn't looking for a mentee. I wasn't out looking for people to school, but you just kept coming back and you wanted more and more and more. And I seen you applying the things that I was teaching you. And that was when I knew like this little motherfucker's got heart. He's got balls, you know. At the time I'm thinking there's a couple things he's wrong about, but it doesn't matter what he's wrong about because what he's right about is what's important. And what you're right about is the fact you wanted to learn this shit. And as you started to have more faith in my information, once we made that connection and you saw that my information was valid, you would actually violate your own um, you would violate your own personal like presuppositions at that point. You would stop. You had your own like understandings of things, and you would actually pull away from your own understanding, and you would just take a shot at what I was telling you. There was things where you were like, but I always thought like this and this, and I'd say nope, and you would just disregard that, and you would just go with the information. You had full faith in the information, and I knew that the whole transition was complete. What I saw in you was the hunger to get there. And in this case, it was about having game and learning about life, learning about how to be a man, learning about masculinity, how to have bitches. But it could be the same with anything else. If you're looking for a financial mentor, the real way to do that is to already have your already have your coals in the fire, already have your tools in the heat. You know what I mean? Someone's going to walk by, they're going to see you. You're already out there. That means you're already out there at the seminars. You're already out there at these networking groups. You're already out there at these finance groups. You're already meeting people. You're already at events. You're going to meet people there that are at these events that have more information than you. Inevitably, we're all going to meet people that know more than us. The real way to attract a mentor is to already be doing something. Because had I seen you and you weren't already on your way to the top, I knew even without me, you were going to get somewhere. And that's what made me want to help you, was the fact that I know whatever time I invest into you isn't a wasted time. And I say that because I know you're going to use what I teach you. If I was to have these kinds of conversations that I have with you all the time, it would be a big waste of my time. Those guys aren't going to go out and make anything of it. They're not going to make anything of themselves. And I can see that right away. So why would I waste my time doing that? With you, I'm passing on information to the next generation. I'm helping someone that's going to go out and do more with that information. That's basically what people that have information look for. And whenever I run into people who are really high performance, high powered individuals, whether it be in the game, whether it be people who are business owners, business managers, I've had my experience in the large business end of things too. And when you meet these people, these millionaires who have hundreds of employees, and their time is broken down into 5-minute segments and 15-minute segments, and they're the busiest people on earth. And you meet them and you start talking to them about potentially joining with them about some type of project. Usually what they say is, if I can add any type of value, I'd be happy to. People who have value, they try to add value, and they want to invest value wherever they can. They only want to do it into people that they know it's not going to be a waste of their time, though. So that was really, more than anything, what made me want to invest into you, was the fact that I saw that you were going somewhere. I saw that you were hungry for this, and I saw that you were going to make it no matter what. And when I saw that, I knew that anything I invest into you was not going to go to waste.
And that's the biggest thing right there. It's like imagine you have a stock that's worth £100 or $100, whatever. If you know that it's going to go to zero, you're not going to invest in it, because obviously the amount of money or the amount of energy that you put into that is going to be wasted. So if you know that stock's got a potential of going to 10,000, that's why you're going to invest heavily into it. I mean, that applies to everything, right? That applies to whether it's in your life, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your education. If you're able to see something as that potential, then you're going to invest deeply into it, because you know that it's going to take you to essentially turn your dreams into your reality. And it's a case of, you need to make sure, especially if you're young, if you're under 20, you need to make sure that you're positioning yourself to where you're actually showing some kind of potential. And this can be done in the case of whether it's reading books and having some kind of knowledge, or having some kind of basic understanding, or whether it's learning a course, purchasing a course, and then you're having this kind of, okay, let's say a sales course, for example. So you purchase a sales course for, let's say, $500, and you purchase this course and you're learning the kind of sales thing. So let's say you get into a sales organization now, and one of the top salesmen, you can see that you've got that kind of hunger and that kind of drive to where you want to learn more. And that's when they're going to take you under their wing. They're actually going to really double down and make sure that you get to their level. Because fundamentally in this game, I remember it's something that you told me, Tony, each one teach one, meaning that if someone has some kind of information, they want to teach someone else that information so that they can pass that to someone else, and essentially to make kind of the world a better place. And it's almost like a very righteous way of living, in terms of passing on that knowledge down to the next generation, passing that knowledge on to people who will be able to pass that on to other people. Because like, of all the information that you have right now, it should eventually be passed on to your sons, your daughter, and then once your sons and your daughters have children, that'll be passed on to your grandchildren. And that's the way that not only do you create a legacy for yourself, but you're also instilling these kind of valuable lessons and principles into the next generation of people who are going to come after you. So it's almost like you're honoring your ancestors or the people coming before you, but you're also teaching the next generation of people coming after you. So it's like one of the most righteous things that you can do, especially as a man, because you're the head of the household. Essentially, you're the head honcho, and you're passing on this information to where people don't have to go through the kind of same mistakes that you went through. Let's say, let me use the example of a woman. Let's say you as a man have had an issue with a woman to where she left you on red. So you can tell your son, okay, son, this is the kind of thing to where if a woman leaves you on red, you don't get in your feelings about it, you just move on. And that's something which a lot of men, it sounds so simple, but they don't understand. Like, let's say they get left on red, they take it to heart, they think they're not good enough, they have that low self esteem, and then it just kind of trickles down into it's become like a simple an incel. But if you had this kind of knowledge from your father and you had the kind of wisdom to where, okay, I know that I don't need to take being left on red seriously, it's something that can transfer into virtually every aspect of your life.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Just like you said, each one teach one, each player teach player. And at the end of the day, I just believe so strongly in this information. I believe so strongly in the man that I want to see the man in others. And if I have a chance to just, with a few moments of my time and a few select words, I can drop something on somebody and change their dynamic, change their direction into something better, I'm going to do that. You know, because if I'm like this and you're like this and everybody around us is like this, then all the people that come across us are going to have a different perception of what a man is. They're going to have a different perception of what this life is. Can you imagine like one of these guys if they were able to kick it with us and have our conversations and kind of just scoop up what we had going on, they would be a better person. That's,
100%.
the main reason why we're doing this.
100%. And one thing you was talking about earlier, or even like, let's say my whole kind of journey so far, is like, let's say I've asked you a question, and it's been a goofy question, you'd call me out on that. It's a case of if you're wanting to be mentored by someone, you have to be willing to put your ego to the side. You have to be willing to, as Tony said at the start, like essentially unlearn the stuff that you've learned and then take on this new information, this new kind of way of thinking. And obviously, with everything that you do in life, you have to question everything. So whether it's information that you're given or whether it's information which someone, let's say the whole thing that's been happening in the past 2 or 3 years. Obviously, I can't speak on it, but everyone knows what's happening. If you'd questioned actually what had happened, you would know, okay, this doesn't really make sense. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Okay, why are they telling me to do this? Why are they trying to force this into me? You would know, okay, I'm not going to go down that path because it doesn't really make sense because you're able to discern that for yourself in terms of questioning everything. So let's say with a mentor, let's say they're giving you information. Obviously, you question it, but at the same time, you understand that they are mentoring you for a reason in terms of they have this knowledge, they have this experience, which you don't have. Therefore, you have to take that knowledge with kind of a pinch of salt, not a pinch of salt, but you have to take it for what it is and then kind of mold it to your own kind of worldview. But at the same time, you still have to take that information and understand that this person has more experience, so therefore you should listen to it until, let's say you get that level of experience, but then that's going to take 10 years down the line. So it's like the whole idea of a mentor essentially to cut out the mistakes and cut out the kind of whole guesswork period. And they're just there to help you guide you along the way. And something that we were talking about earlier, Tony, is the whole idea of the easy way is the hard way in terms of if you are mentoring someone, obviously you want to teach them things, but at the same time, you don't want to like hand them everything on a silver spoon. So can you break that easy way is the hard way kind of thing down?
All right, man. So check it out. The easy way is the hard way, or the hard way ends up being the easy way, however you want to look at it. But looking for the easy way is going to end up being the hard way. And doing things the hard way at first is going to end up being the easy way. And the reason I say this is real simple. These dudes nowadays, not even just the dudes listening, but everybody, they want to do things the easy way. If you guys could pay us $100 and we could just tell you exactly what to wear, exactly what to drive, exactly what to say, and how to just walk up to a girl and have her, versus building up yourself, investing in yourself, taking the time to work and have an understanding of how this game really is, have an understanding of how women think, have an understanding of what a man's supposed to be, which is harder, which is the real work, you guys would go the easy way. You would just want to have the answers. You know, you don't You're not interested in the journey. You're not interested in making yourself into a better man. You're interested in getting the answers. You want the shortcut. You want the secret sauce. And because of that, you're going to scrape up a little bit of game. You're going to learn some things. And what's going to happen is you're going to catch a bitch who's out of your league. You're going to play up and you're going to catch that bitch. And then she's going to see right through you. She's going to see that you are not what you're claiming to be. You are not what you're presenting yourself as. And she's going to blow. And it's going to crush you. And you're going to have no one to blame but yourself because you were fronting, you were faking who you were, and you were putting yourself off like something that you weren't. You were trying to play a game that you weren't ready for. You were trying to step into a ring that you weren't ready to fight in. And you're going to end up worse off than if you never had the bitch. You're going to end up worse off, more self-destructive, more hard on yourself than if you had never been in the situation in the first place. You guys don't want to get pussy. You guys don't want to get a girl's pussy. What you want is you want to learn a couple of little slick things to say. You want to learn a little bit of pickup game. You want to learn a little bit of slick lines. You want to soak up the shit you hear us say. And then you want to go catch a bitch. You want her to give it to you. You want her to just hand you some pussy. You don't want to understand how women are seduced. You don't want to understand how seduction works. You don't want to understand what makes a man magnetic to a woman. You guys don't want to do that work. And that's your shortcoming. You guys don't understand that the treasure is in the adventure. You know, the gold is not what you get at the end. The gold is in the whole work. You being that man. I always take it back to this, but say like Bill Gates, you could take away all his money right now, everything he's got. And in a year, he's going to be rich again because that's who he is. He has the skill set that's going to put him right back in that position, regardless of what happens. You could break him down, take away all his money. He's going to be a millionaire again in 6 months. And that's because that's who he is. He has systems in place. He has game in place. He has understanding. He has the network. He knows how to go into a bank and ask them for the money for his project. He knows how to convince people that he's the guy that they should be investing in on, you know, some type of leadership position. That's what you guys need. You need to understand that when you try to do things the easy way, you're really doing things the hard way. Just like they used to say, don't become a millionaire to be a millionaire. Become a millionaire so you can become who it took you to become in the process. Don't become a millionaire to have $1 million. Become a millionaire so you can become what it took to get there. A millionaire is someone who wakes up, has a tight schedule, has a strong positive mentality. They're always pushing towards a higher level. They have a huge amount of self-belief. They have a great network. You know, they have a great self-esteem. They have a great work ethic. They never say never. They don't give up. They're just better people in general. The money comes as a result of who they become as a person. The money comes as a result. It's a measurement metric for their success. It's the same thing with this shit. The girls are not the goal. The girls are just the proof that you have become someone worthy of having the girls. The goal here is not to get the pussy, which is what you guys want. You guys want her to just hand you the pussy. You don't want to conquer the woman. You don't want to really enrapture her. You don't even want to understand how that process works. You don't want to understand how to become an unshakable man. You just want to get pussy. You only see the small picture. And because you only see the small picture, you're missing the big work. But the big work is the big prize. So you guys have to change the way you see these things. You have to change the way you are. And you have to realign your values here to, instead of saying, I want to be this and that, or I want to have this and that, you say, this is what I want to become. And this is the difference between all of those guys with all of those podcasts, all of those shows, all of those reels, all that shit you guys are watching. They don't talk about this. They don't talk about actually fundamentally changing who you are as a man. They say, stop doing this, stop doing that, stop telling girls this, stop texting them this. But what they're saying is superficial. It doesn't actually change who you are. How can you expect to get different results if you haven't changed who you are? As a person, fundamentally, you have to change who you actually are. And that means a lot of work. That means seeing things a different way. That means doing things a different way. That shit's not easy. That shit's hard. But you guys want to get big results from small work. But in reality, if you just bit the bullet down now, started making those changes now, In 6 months, you're going to see a completely different person. In a year, you're going to see a completely different person. In 5 years, you're going to see a completely different person, and you're going to be living a different life. But if you don't ever start that change, you might get lucky. You might get a good job. You might get a decent bride. But because you're not that man who's built to sustain that, it's all going to blow, especially the girl. They know who you are. You know, they know who you are. You can be something for a while, but you're not going to be that forever. Eventually, they're going to see through. They're going to get behind your curtain and they're going to see who you really are, which is why it's important to really be that thing, which is why it's important to change who you are as a man. Instead of just wanting these quick results, we're not in this for quick results. We're in this for change. Because if you're really that man, there's going to be situations that you weren't trained for. Yeah, you can ask me. Yeah, you can ask T. There's a lot of things you guys can come up to us and say, hey, I'm in this situation. What do I do? But when you become that man, you're going to be ready for any situation. There's not a question you guys can ask me right now that I'm not going to have a great answer to. There's nothing you guys can throw my way that I'm not going to be able to pop off from the hip, shoot straight from the hip, and have some clean ass shit to say. Because that's who I am. That's what I've become. And you can't take that away from me either. So you guys need to bear that in mind. Stop trying to do shit the easy way, because the easy way is the hard way. And you're going to end up suffering a lot of heartbreak. Because catching a high quality bitch that you really love and seeing her leave because you weren't the man that you said you were is going to be 10 times the heartbreak you thought that these other little tramps that you were chasing after are ever going to do to you. Knowing that it's your fault because you were presenting yourself as something that you weren't. Stop trying to do things the easy way.
That's cold. That's cool. I said it on the last podcast as well. That was like a 5-minute riff. Start what you're doing. Go back to the start when Tony was speaking and listen to that, because the stuff is breaking down there for you. Crazy. Crazy. And it's very true. You talked about the journey is the goal. Like and fundamentally in this game, it's not on you, it's in you. And what's in you, they can't take away. Nipsey Hussle said that, and you got to understand that it's even Andrew Tate, you talked about on the podcast, saying that he could lose everything tomorrow and he would know how to get back to that million within a week, because he has that foundation in terms of the mindset of what it takes to do X, Y, Z. And with everything in life is a formula, in the sense of making money is a formula. Attracting women is a formula. Like keeping women, that's a different formula. And then same with making money and keeping money. They're two different kind of things. But you have to understand these people who are in the top echelon, like who are the elite of the elite, they have cracked this formula, and you could take everything away from them and they would still manage to get everything back within such a short time frame, because they have that core foundations in terms of who they built themselves up into as a man. Like they're not faking nothing. That's the problem with a lot of modern society, is the whole idea of fake it till you make it. The worst advice that you can give a man is to fake it till you make it, because then he tries to be something that he's not, and then he puts on this act, and it might work. You might be able to get a chick who's a 10, or if it's not a string of 10, you might be able to get a chick who's a 9. You might be able to fool yourself into a six-figure job. But eventually, those little tests are going to come, and there's always going to be tests eventually. Them tests are going to come, and you're going to fail them. And then some bigger tests will come, and again, you'll fail them. And then people will be able to see that facade, and then once they see that, it's a wrap. It's game over. And I mean, from there, people just start treating you like a sucker, because you are one. The truth is, if you're faking it, you are a sucker, because you're trying to be something that you're not. And regardless of where you are in life, the people who are cognizant, the people who actually know how the world and people work, they can be able to see through your mask. There's the whole notion of the eyes and windows of the soul. You can literally look at a man or a woman and see if they are who they say they are, or if they're trying to be something that they're not. And this is the same thing which women can smell on you. They can smell if you're desperate. They can smell if you're trying to put on an act. And it's a case of they might try and play into this act. They might try and act as if they're all interested in you, then just finesse you. They might mess with your emotions. They might take all the free validation that you give them and just keep it pushing. They might cheat on you with your friend, all that kind of thing, all because you're trying to be something that you're not. So please re-listen to everything that Tony just said about the easy way is the hard way, because it's true. There is no shortcut to anything in life. And even if you do believe there is a shortcut, in the end, you'll realize it's a longer route, because you're trying to stop the kind of the process of what it takes to get to where you want to be. So let's say a race, a 100-meter race. The process of being in the 100-meter race is that you're going from the 0 meter mark to the 100-meter mark. Of course, you can start at the 50-meter mark or whatever, but just because you start there doesn't mean you're going to win the race first, because you're at sort of just such a disadvantage in terms of the people behind you have such a big momentum in terms of getting to the finish line ahead of you. So you can't get into this mindset of, okay, I'm going to try and cheat, or I'm going to try and finesse my way into XYZ, because it's just not going to work in the long term. And by all means, you can try it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I used to do the whole fake it till you make it stuff until you have that one thing that kind of breaks you. And then from there, it's like, damn, I actually have to change my mindset. You have to, like, it's like a flip in your head, essentially. You have to realize, okay, this isn't the way to go. This isn't something that is actually sustainable, that I can do for a period of time. And that's when you have to actually become the man who you are, as opposed to the man who you think you are. You have to actually double down on creating them characteristics and creating that kind of lifestyle to where you're developing those intangibles that no one can take away from you. They can take away your money, they can take away your cars, they take away your jewelry, they can take away your watches, but they can't take away your mindset. And your mindset is the most powerful thing that you as a man possess.
Exactly. And we live in a world of exactly what you just described. We live in a world of people that don't want to run the 100-meter race. They want to look like they run the 100-meter race. They want to wear a gold medal. They want to wear the little Olympic runner outfit. They want to be on Instagram and they want to post pictures showing them on the track, but they don't actually want to be the racer. Look at all these videos right now, all these reels of people working out, the whole gym culture. Everybody talks about the gym. I guaranteed half of you motherfuckers own some $50 pairs of fucking workout shorts. You own $50 shirts that wick out sweat. How many of you actually have an impressive physique? Talk about the gym, dress like you go to the gym, follow gym pages, look at gym memes, comment on gym shit. How many of you guys actually have impressive physiques? Because you guys don't want to have muscles. You want to talk about muscles. You want to look like you want muscles. Go on the internet. Go on those finance guru pages. Go on those entrepreneur pages. Everybody in those comments talks like a millionaire. If you looked at their profile, they look like a millionaire. They post memes like they're a millionaire. They all post memes like they know so much. How many of those people are actually millionaires? You got to think about that shit, man. We live in a world where looking like something has become more important than actually being that. And that shit he was just talking about, a front, putting up these fronts, that shit is fundamental because look, when guys meet girls, they tend to put on their best front. They're all of this and they're all that. They'll never do this. They'll never do that. This is who they are. They'll never be like these guys over here. And then throughout time, because that's not who they are, they begin to falter and fade away from who they said they were to the girl. They begin to be someone else. They begin to show their true colors. So 6 months down the line, a year down the line, there's someone completely different than who they said they were. And that gives the woman the right, that gives the woman the prerogative to despise you as a man. That gives the woman the right to say, you're a liar. Because what you're doing when you put on that front, here's what you're really saying. Now, see, there's what you're trying to portray, and there's what you're actually portraying. And when you put up a front to have a woman, what you're really saying is, I have to lie to have this woman. I have to put on a front for people to like me. When you want to look like that gym guy, but not have the muscles, when you want to look like that influencer, but not have the money, when you want to talk like you got this game and then not have the game, what you're really doing is you're putting on a front. But what you're really doing is you're telling the people around you, I have to lie in order to have this woman. I have to lie in order to have these friends. I have to lie in order to have this group of people that look up to me. Whatever your goals are here, you have to lie in order to have that. You're a liar. You're sneaky, and you're acting like a girl. You're not being who you are. It's better off to just look at yourself right now and say, this is what I am. And then you can ask yourself, once you've decided this is what I am, and you face the music about what you are and where you're at, you can ask yourself, Is this what I want to be, though? And if you never tell yourself, this is what I really am, you're never going to be able to ask yourself, is this what I want to be? And if you never ask yourself, is this what I want to be? You're never going to be able to decide what you want to be. You guys got to be realistic about where you're at. You guys got to really just sit down. You got to face the music. And the first thing you need to do is just stop fronting, stop lying, stop aggrandizing yourself, stop pumping yourself up. You guys need to be realistic, at least with yourself, because all you're doing is you're telling the people around you these falsehoods. And even if you're not directly lying, just putting yourself out there as something that you're not is still fronting. It's putting on a front. And when they see through that, the true colors show. It's like if you guys wore a nice suit and then you had the nice car and then you had a grill, you know, and then you had your hair done, you know, you had all this shit. Then they get in your car and the car's fucking filthy on the inside and doesn't even run right. You know, you got a suit on, you got a Porsche and a grill, but then they get in your car don't run. What do you think that girl's gonna think? That's not who you are. It's a whole package. It goes together. It's not you get to pick and choose, you know where you're at. And once you get to a point, you don't go back. I'm never gonna not drive Mercedes and BMW. You know, I'm just not gonna drive a Toyota. That doesn't mean I'm better than you guys. It just means that's who I am. I'm never gonna not have gold. You know, you're always gonna see me in some gold because that's who I am. If you took away all my gold now, somehow, some way, I'll have some gold again in a week because that's where I'm at. That's who I am. You know, that's who I actually am. That's who I've become. You guys need to figure out who you are, and then you need to become that. You guys need to figure out who you are. You need to figure out what you want to become. Then you guys need to become that. Because what you're really doing with these women is you're putting on a front. And when you eventually, when you inevitably, when you undoubtedly show them what you really are, because that is what you are, and they are designed to see through your bullshit. That's what women do. They see through your bullshit. When they inevitably see through your bullshit, they're going to have the righteous right to despise you and to not respect you because you're a liar and you're sneaky and you didn't even have to be. You're better off just telling her in the beginning, this is what I'm about. This is where I'm at. And the reason I'm telling you this is so there's no surprises, there's no doubts, and then you get to decide whether you want to continue with me or not. And then later on down the line, they can't say you're a liar, you're sneaky, you're representing yourself as a man. When you lie to a woman, you're lowering your value. When you lie to anybody, you're lowering your value. It's better to just accept where you're at and then decide what you want to become. When these guys post their pics and make it look like, you know, they're gym this, gym that, but they don't really have the physique, they're getting the dopamine of the result without getting a result. Do you think those guys are going to go to the gym and bust it out hard this week? No, because their mentality is not, I'm not happy where I'm at. I need to work harder. Their mentality is, look at me. Everyone thinks I'm this, so I'm this. Those guys aren't going to improve. It's the guys that can be realistic. I always say, be hard on yourself and then be easy on others. Be hard on yourself, be easy on others. Have high standards for yourself, go light on others. Be realistic with yourself and see yourself as what you are and then decide what you want. And that's real.
And the crazy thing is, I was literally gonna say one of the like mantras I've lived by for quite a long time is to be your number one fan, but be your harshest critic. In the sense of, being your number one fan, you should be gassing yourself up so much. And for gassing, if you don't know what I mean, that means like hyping yourself up so much to where you don't seek external validation from anyone. Like you're your own biggest fan, but there's nothing that someone can say to you to where it'll knock you off kilter, or it'll like get to your head almost. And if you can actually like develop that dynamic in yourself, you have like a self-assurance. It's always that thing that we're talking about, like, you know who you are, so nothing phases you. Nothing, someone can say, okay, you're ugly. Okay, well, no, I'm not ugly, so what? You're just talking just to talk, and then that's just the projection of them hating on you, and in reality hating on themselves. It's like you can break that kind of thing down within people because you know who you are. I mean, in terms of being your harshest critic, if you're messing up, you have to take extreme accountability for that. If you're not where you want to be, you have to take extreme accountability for that. If you're not living the life that you want to live, you have to take extreme accountability for that. And you have to understand the only person who ever has or ever will or whoever can change your situation is you. There is no person in this world who's going to put more effort into you than you can into yourself because everyone's focused on their own mission. At the end of the day, it's all a game. We're all trying to, well, not all of us, but a lot of us are trying to win. And how can I win if I'm trying to help you win? And that's not the case of I don't want to help you win, but I have to put myself first. And then once I put myself first, then that's when I can help you win. But if you don't put yourself first, if you don't focus on being not hyper, just being extremely realistic with where you are, then you're just not going to be able to get to that next stage. And I genuinely believe one of the coldest things that you can possess as a man, or one of the coldest things that you can be as a man, is authentic to who you are. Like everyone's different. We've all come into this world with different kind of experiences, different kind of childhoods. And if a lot of you don't know about human nature, the bulk of our characteristics are based upon one, who our parents are and the environments that we're surrounded. It's that whole nature and nurture kind of thing. And those are the kind of things that mold us into who we are. And if you can kind of understand that, but also take it to the next level in terms of becoming who you want to be as well. So let's say you have a bad past, for example, and you might have had some horrible things happen to you. Okay, that's happened to you, but you have to kind of use that and mold it in a way to where it almost like motivates you to become, okay, now I want to become X type of man, and I want to ensure that my kids don't go through that kind of struggle as well. So it's like you almost sort of like brainwashing yourself in a way of, okay, there's this kind of person who I want to be. Then what does that kind of person do? Do they scroll through social media, or are they working on their purpose? Do they beat their meat, or are they focused on building their empire? It's like if you are the type of person who does goofy kind of things, and you know if you are because you would have had a little like inkling in your stomach, you had a little knot in your heart almost. If you don't know that you're doing X, Y, Z, then you know that, I mean, that's going to be your destiny essentially. If you're the type who complains, if you're the type who beats your mate, if you're the type who says women are trash, I mean, by all means, think that, do that. You're chilling, but you have to understand you're only going to become a certain caliber of man, and you can't complain or you can't pass the blame onto anyone else other than yourself. You have to take extreme accountability for absolutely everything in this life. That's just your duty as a man. It's the thing that Tony talked about last week in terms of the Adam and Eve thing. Like you're the man, you have headship, you have ownership of, not ownership, but you have that kind of dominion over everything. You control your reality. And if you don't want to control that, if you want to try and plaster blame onto someone else, if you want to try and be like blame other people but not take that ownership for yourself, it's gonna be a long, long ride. And that boils down to the thing that we just talked about. The easy way is the hard way. It's hard to take accountability. I can't lie. Like I used to be the type when I was 18, I used to blame people for everything, whether it's playing football, whether it's not getting a woman that I want or whatever. I would blame someone else. Oh yeah, she was just ugly, or oh, that was a bad pass, whatever. But I never forget one of my mates told me, said, bro, you just complain about everything. It's like it was such a simple statement, but it's one of the things that like literally changed everything for me because it's like that reality check to where, damn, like I'm really just trying to pass the blame onto someone else as opposed to realizing, okay, I am actually messing up. I am not being who I want to be. I'm not in the current rate that I'm going. I'm not going to get to where I want to be either. I'm not transforming myself into the man who be able to get X, Y, Z. So it's that kind of reality check, that being harsh on yourself, and then from there, that's when you have to be your number one fan in terms of, okay, boom, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z for me. I'm gonna wake up at X time. I'm gonna go gym. I'm gonna work on my purpose. I'm going to be building something. I'm going to be focusing on mastering a skill, all that kind of thing to eventually help you go from who you are to who you want to become. That's the game. The game's cold, man.
And that's the thing, really. I don't even know what they're going through, but I already know it's their fault. Whether they see it's their fault or
100%.
not, I can't say. But I don't even know what you're going through, but I know it's your fault. You know, that's how I look at it. I take accountability for shit that I don't even need to take accountability for. I just make everything my responsibility. I make everything my fault. That way I can fix it. If you do some work and you find out there's some shit you can't change, then you know it's not in your hands. You know, with all that, I want to say, as far as what you were saying about pushing and making things outside of complaints, you have to just stop complaining, period. You just got to remove that shit from your mentality. Because a lot of you guys hate women. You really do. You don't like women. You got some type of negative thought about them generally. And that shit's gonna hold you back. That's just one of many examples of why negative thoughts and like complaints are gonna set you back. You have your mindset in a certain direction. Like, say you just don't like women in general. You're gonna do everything you can to confirm your bias. You're gonna do everything you can to purposefully make sure that this girl pisses you off. And you're gonna find a way to make sure she pisses you off in exactly the same way you thought she was gonna piss you off. And then she's gonna do it. And then you're gonna say, I was right. You're going to say, damn, I knew she was going to do that because you made her do it. You made her do it with your complaints. You have to remove yourself from all negative preconceptions about anything. Now, in this case, I'm talking about women. You got to remove all the negative thoughts about women because they're going to see that shit. They're going to smell that shit on you. But in general, in life, anything you think is going to go wrong, you got to remove that from your mind. Anything that you complain about, you got to remove that from your mind. It seems different, but it's the same thing, really. Complaining and having a complaining type of personality is the same kind of person that thinks nothing's going to go good. That complaining mentality, that leads to the mentality that things aren't going to go your way. That leads to the mentality like things aren't going to turn out great. And if you think things aren't going to turn out great, they're not. If you think things are going to turn out great, they are. And it's that simple.
For real, for real. There's a book which I highly recommend all of you read. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. It just breaks down that whole kind of essentially your beliefs translate into everything, into not only who you become, but who you are. In terms of if you believe that women are trash, as a result, you're going to attract women or trash women into your life. But that's just the way this stuff goes. It's not the case of you can believe the woman attracts them and you're going to attract a diamond into your life because you can't attract something which you're not focused on. You're focused on, okay, women are trash. So therefore, it's almost like what Tony talked about, that confirmation bias. So let's say you hear a podcast of a woman saying, okay, there's 9 continents in the world, whatever. You're going to say, oh, yeah, I was right. Women are trash. Women are X, Y, Z. Women are stupid, all that kind of thing. All because you have that underlying belief that women are this. And then as a result, it's going to lead into like a self-sabotage. But you're going to believe that. And then you might be able to get a woman. You might be able to get a decent woman. But then once you have this woman, you almost be sabotaging yourself in the sense of, okay, but I believe that women are trash. So therefore, I have to confirm this belief. So you'll start doing goofy things. As Tony said, you'll start doing the kind of thing to where you don't even realize you're harming yourself. It's like your subconscious is so like deeply embedded with this idea that women are trash that it just becomes your reality. And everything that you do tries to confirm that. And then as a result, I mean, your entire outlook is essentially confirmed because you're attracting these trash type of women. Because obviously there's trash women, but there's good women. There's trash men, but there's good men. And if you genuinely believe that women are trash, then all I can say, bro, is may God bless your soul because you're gonna be in for a long, long ride. And it's something that we talked about before the start of this recording, when you were talking about the way that a lot of these pages of people feel like you should treat a woman. Can you break that down, Tony?
You know what? Yeah, let me touch on that. So a lot of these pages that are on like the red pill side of things, or like Hoodville's a perfect example. Hoodville, he's always posting some meme about, hold on a second. Hey, turn that volume down over there. I can hear you all the way in here. You guys making crazy noises. Turn it down. So, look, you got these pages like Hoodville, and these pages are posting shit like, what do they say? Treat them like dirt and they'll stick like mud. These pages are like, treat a shorty like what's that saying they say? Treat her like a celebrity, she'll treat you like a fan. Yeah, treat her like a celebrity, she'll
Yeah.
treat you like a fan. All those little sayings that page has. So it's like we either have these pages that are counterculture that tell us to dog women out, or we have these other pages who are like basically treat women like queens, be perfect and then they'll be perfect. You got to treat her with respect and then she'll grow into it. You just basically got 2 different philosophies. You got the treat her like shit, or you got the pedestalizer. There's no real in between. But the point that these guys miss, the point that I've never heard anyone speak about, is actually treating a woman according to who she is, treating a woman according to where she knows she's at. What you guys don't realize is a woman knows her value. She knows where she's at. Now you'll get some girls, they'll be on Instagram and they get 100,000 likes. And when you talk to them, they'll seem like they have confidence. They'll seem like they actually think highly of themselves. But then, you go hang out with them. What are they doing? They're snorting powder at a bar. They're, having sex with maybe 2 or 3 different guys in a week. They're depressed. They drink every night. They don't really actually have that self belief. They don't actually have that self esteem. They don't actually have that self love. They actually know what they're worth. So, you get these guys and they'll always say something along the lines of, why does this girl, why do these girls always want to chase the asshole? I'm so nice. And these girls, they always want the dick. Well, here's the thing. And this has never really been adequately explained by anybody. I've never seen anyone really break this down on the levels that I'm about to break this shit down on. But basically, it's not so much that all the girls chase these assholes and that you're the nice guy and she didn't want you. What's true is that girl knew that she wasn't shit. She knew that she didn't have value. And that guy that treated her like that, she respected him because he saw that she wasn't shit and he treated her accordingly. Then there's you, who's got some girl that has some kind of crazy disrespectful to herself body count, drinks every day, 3 times a week or whatever, does drugs, smokes vape, she's not classy, she's trashy, she raps along to rap songs on Snapchat, whatever it is. You can see these girls, they're not classy. So then what do? They go get with some guy who treats them bad and they reject you. Well, why is that? It's not because women want to be treated bad. It's because that girl that you were pedestalizing knew she wasn't shit. These girls in their head, they don't consciously know their value. To them, you ask them, they all say they're queens. They all say they're high value. They all say they deserve more. They all say these things, but they don't actually believe it. And if you asked them, yeah, they'd believe it. And if you put them on a lie detector, they would pass the test because what they were saying, they were believing it while they were saying it. But subconsciously, which is where most of us do all of our thinking, and especially where women do all of their thinking, subconsciously, these women know where they're at, they know where they rank, and they know how they deserve to be treated. So it's not that women treat men bad who treat them good. It's that women treat men good who treat them accordingly. Because there is good women out there. There is smart women out there who have things going on for themselves, who will leave in a heartbeat if you treat them like shit. Do you know how many girls there are out there who are good girls, smart, respectable, submissive, loving? If you were to dog them out, if you were to, let them go through your phone and they saw some other bitch in your phone, they're going to leave in a heartbeat. I mean, if they love you and you guys have been together for a long time and you have a lot to offer, I mean, maybe they'll stick through some shit. Believe it or not, girls will stick through your side through a lot of shit. But my point being, essentially here, what I'm saying is, it's not a matter of, oh, girls always go for the assholes, or treat her good and she'll treat you bad. That's not what it is. What it is subconsciously, these women know where they rank. And if you're treating a girl who has a low value great, she's going to look at you and she's going to say, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he acting like this? Why is he pumping me up? Why is he buying me flowers? She just got railed. She just got railed in a bathroom at a club the other night, and you're buying her flowers. You know, do you know who that's who she is at first? No, you don't. Which is why these talking phases are so important for you guys to really get to know who these girls are. Long before you try to put your dick in them, you need to put your dick in their mind. You need to fuck their brain way before you fuck their body. You need to know who they are. You guys don't do long talking phases anymore. And that shit it's frowned upon. It's frowned upon in society nowadays. It's frowned upon. People say, oh, you're asking her how her day was and her ex is blowing her back out. Well, if that's the case, why are you dealing with this broad? You know, you might take 3 days to find out that this girl ain't shit. But then ain't that better than you having sex with her, catching some type of feelings? You guys are doing some kind of half dating thing now because you guys are messing around. That's what ends up happening. They always say that girls get attached through sex, or some guys say that, once a girl has a certain body count, she doesn't get attached through sex anymore, whatever. But guys do too. Not in the same way girls do. But sex can make a relationship where a relationship shouldn't have been. So what I'm saying is you guys need to get to know who these girls are more, because these girls that ain't shit, you go treating them like they are shit, in their head, subconsciously, outside of their own conscious thought, they're going to say, why is this dude treating me so good? I don't deserve this. What's wrong with him? She's going to think she ain't shit. She's had trains ran on her. You know what I mean? And you're over here treating her like a princess. She's going to think, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? She's not going to think there's something wrong with her. She's not going to say, oh, look at me and what's wrong with me. You know, like, I don't deserve him. That's not even what she's going to say. She's going to say, what the fuck is wrong with this bozo? He can't see right through me and see that I ain't shit. And then she's going to disrespect you for it. And you know what? When you put things into perspective, how I'm explaining them right now, you're a chump. You're dumb. You're treating her in a way she doesn't deserve to be treated. And the disrespect that comes after that, you deserve it. You this might be hard for you motherfuckers to accept, but pretty much every time a girl has ever treated you like shit and done you wrong, the signs were there and you refused to look. And because you refused to look or didn't refuse to look, don't matter. The signs were there and you saw them. Whether you choose to see them and play on that, or whether you chose to tell yourself, no, I don't think that's what it is. No, she wouldn't do that. Or here's the best one. Oh yeah, she's capable of that, but she's not capable of doing that to me. That's the biggest lie guys tell themselves. She'll do that, but she won't do that to me though. Yes, she will. You know, you need to start treating these girls a lot more serious, but at the same time, you need to stop taking them as serious. You need to start getting to know who these broads are. Because it's not that girls fawn after guys that treat them bad. It's that girls deep down know how they deserve to be treated on an individual by individual basis. And when you treat them better than they deserve, you're weird, you know? And I think you're weird for it too. Now, how do you know who these girls really are? Well, that's where your stomach comes in. You know when these girls ain't shit. A lot of guys just know when their girl's cheating. You know, a lot of guys just know, I don't think this girl's faithful. I have a feeling like she's unfaithful. And then they tell themselves, no, she would never do that. And then she says something along the lines of, oh, I would never cheat on you. And that's good enough for them. Then they never look into it again. Then 6 months down the line, they go through a phone. They find out she was getting her back broke every weekend while they were at work. The signs are always there. You guys got to look for the signs. You guys got to actively look for the signs on whether this broad ain't shit. Then you got to remember that these girls, they take their time to show their true colors. Now, some girls, they show their true colors right away. Some girls show their true colors 3 days in, a week in. Some girls show their true colors 2 weeks in. Some girls take 3 months. Some girls take 6 months. But eventually those colors are going to show. Now, if a girl put herself up to be all this and that, and later down the line, she begins to fall off from who she, put herself up as, that's not always your fault. And that does happen. But even then, when you get to the point to where I'm at, I can see through that shit too. And if I don't see it right away, I'll put up some kind of test. You got to test these broads. You got to test them. You got to ask questions. You got to see. If you ask a girl, have you ever cheated on anybody? Oh, I've never cheated on nobody. Never? No, never. Well, have you ever been going through like a breakup and things just weren't going good and you already had the next guy lined up? No, I've never even done that. Okay, well, this broad's full of shit. You know what I mean? A righteous girl will at least admit, like, yeah, I knew who was next, something like that. You gotta pry into that kind of shit. But really, don't get pulled into this mentality that the Hoodville pages will push on you. Like, you just got to treat all these broads like dirt. Because in reality, it's the broads that are dirt that want to get treated like dirt. There's good girls out there who are loyal, who are faithful, who are submissive. And those are the kind of girls that really like to be treated that way. Have you guys ever had a girl who, as soon as you knock her, she's in your text messages every morning? Good morning, handsome. I love you so much. I'm so grateful that I met you. Blah, blah, blah. Like the ones that just really put it on thick, those girls like that shit back. That's the kind of relationship they want. They want to be in a loving, happy relationship. Do you think that girl wants to get treated like shit? No. And if you treat her like shit and she stays, it's not because that's the right move. It's because she loves you and she's willing to deal with it. But you guys just basically have to get yourself into the mentality that these girls are a certain thing. And subconsciously, not consciously, they know that they are that thing and they want to be treated according to that thing. Because when you pedestalize a girl who ain't shit, she's going to make you pay the fucking price for it. And if you treat a girl like shit who ain't shit and has a high value of herself, She ain't going for that. So you guys need to stop getting so caught up in the asshole always wins, all this and that you guys think, that a lot of us do think, and you need to just start seeing these girls for what they are and then treating them accordingly. Dig that.
Fundamentally, you can't treat a star like a bench player. Well, let me use the analogy of a basketball team. If there's a person on your team who's getting 30 points consistently, you can't treat them the same as someone who's coming off the bench and getting 5 points for you. And why can't you do that? Because one is providing so much more value than the other. One is so much more beneficial to your life, or in terms of the team, so it's more beneficial in terms of helping you win the game as opposed to the bench player. So the problem with what a lot of these people be preaching is that they try and fit women all into one category, as if one size fits all. So okay, yeah, you should treat them all like trash, or you should always do X, Y, Z. When in reality, you have to know the player you're dealing with. So let's even say you've got a basketball team full of stars, and all five of your starting players are stars. Within those, you have to discern the kind of characteristics or even the kind of things which not only motivate them, but if they're playing bad in a game, what do you have to do to chew them out? Because some people you might have to chew them out. Some people may have to just give them a gentle word of encouragement. With some players, you might have to light a fire under them. With others, you might have to get one of their friends to do that for them. You have to be able to know, okay, with this kind of woman or this kind of player, I need to do this. And with that type of player, I need to do that. I'm not even going to talk on the kind of things you do with hoes. I have no interest in anything like that. But if you try and treat all these, I'm trying to take this like general advice of treating women like trash and then trying to apply this to a good kind of woman, she's gonna go instantly because she knows her value. She knows what she's worth, and she knows she's not gonna go for kind of nonsense. She knows that there will be a guy out there who actually understands the game. There'll be a guy out there who actually knows the kind of level that she's supposed to be at, and then she will go with him as opposed to you. You can't be trying to fit everything under one tree. That's not how this stuff works. And then additionally, you also need to understand that you must always see things for what they are, not what you wish they were. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make, is that in terms of the whole red flag kind of thing, it's like you're seeing XYZ happen, but you're trying to act like it's not happening. You're seeing her do these little things that they're not right, but maybe she's good looking. Let's pick a dime, for example, someone who's a nine. Because of her looks, you're looking past all these red flags. And then that's just, not only is it making her lose respect for you because you're pedestalizing her, but also she's just getting one up on you. She's constantly getting a step ahead of you, and to the point where she's going to just start treating you like you're a sucker because you are being a sucker. You're not being a man. You're letting the head in your pants control the head on your shoulders. And you can never, ever allow that to be the case. You always have to be thinking rationally of everything that you do, not only in life, but with a woman. Because if you fall into her frame, it's a wrap. Because you've gone into that emotional kind of thing as opposed to rational, and you're not going to think in a way which will be beneficial in the long term. You got to think most of the things that a woman does is short term in terms of how do I feel right now and how do I want to feel in the next 10 minutes. So if they're watching a movie, or if they're watching, let's say, Love Island, they're watching Love Island because of the drama it's going to be, and it's going to make them get on that emotional roller coaster. If you're thinking in the same kind of way in terms of you're thinking in such a short-term mindset, you can't get a step ahead of it. You can't be on your game to where you know what she's going to do, what she's going to say, all that kind of thing. So you must always think rationally. You must always think with the head on your shoulders. You must always put your urges, your kind of impulses to the side, and think, okay, I'm seeing this happening. What does this actually mean? And almost like a chessboard, you have to like analyze the situation and decide on the best move to go going forward. You have to decide, okay, if this is happening, then I know that that's going to happen, so I'm going to do this instead. And you have to constantly be like going into your mind about that, and so that you can not only avoid being played, but you know how to win in the future. You know who you want to be, not even who you want to be, but where you want to go in terms of the situation. So let's say if a woman, you want to know what you want out of the situation before that situation is taking place, so that you know how to get there. You want to know, okay, I want to get this out of this situation, so I'm going to say these kind of things, I'm going to act in this kind of way so that I can get that kind of end goal. And you have to have that end goal in mind before you've even said a word to her. So let's say you're going to approach a woman, you have to have the mindset of, okay, this might be the woman who I see as the mother of my children. So you're going to approach that kind of woman very different to a woman who you're seeing as a bust down. And that's not saying you should go and see a woman as a bust down and use that as an example. but you have to have that kind of end goal in sight, and then from there, that's how you can know how to move forward and know how to actually move correct.
Yeah, no doubt. And for you guys that are dealing with an overly fine bitch, for those of you guys that do have, a notch, a dime piece, whatever you want to call it, you got to ground yourself. Like sometimes some of you guys are going to have to ground yourself daily. I don't have to ground myself because I'm already grounded, but you guys got to ground yourself when you're dealing with this broad, because a pretty face can work a simple man into the ground. So you can't let her value pass up yours. Like you were saying, you can't let her get ahead of you on the psychological tip, on the leadership part. I'm saying you can't let her top up over you. Anytime you tell yourself, anytime you see your girl and you think, damn, she's bad, tell yourself how handsome you are. Anytime you see, how valuable your girl is, tell yourself how valuable you are. Never let yourself get outside of the mentality that you couldn't replace her with a bitch as good or better. Even if you've never had a girlfriend before. Even if you've never had a girlfriend before in your life, and then all of a sudden you got this beautiful one. Tell yourself that she's replaceable. Doesn't mean you have to treat her like she's replaceable. Doesn't mean you have to treat her like shit. But you mentally within yourself have to tell yourself that she's replaceable. You have to believe like you could have another one just as good as her in a moment's notice. Anytime you pump her up, she's so pretty. Tell yourself how handsome you are. Anytime you think, oh, she's so great, tell yourself how great you are. You know? And on top of that, you gotta fairly categorize these women too. If she's overly fine, she's a 10, but she's broke, which is usually the case with these girls that are 10s. They're usually broke as fuck. They usually pretty much just live their whole life off someone else's back. So that doesn't mean you have to pull her aside and say, hey, honey, I just thought I'd let you know that you're a 10, but you ain't shit. You don't got to do that, but you have to fairly place things, because women don't ever have a problem telling you some shit. They don't ever have a problem telling you what they think, but men tend to have a problem telling women what they think. It's just how crackheads will walk up to you and say, oh, what's up with your eye? Why do you walk like that? Because they're crackheads. They're just not serious. But you would never walk up to a crackhead and say, why you broke, motherfucker? They're gonna, that's just wrong. That's just how things are. Women always have no trouble telling a man, damn, babe, your shoes are dirty as hell. You would never tell your girl, oh, your shoes are dirty as hell. Look at your shoes. We just don't do that shit. Do that shit. That's what I'm saying. Do it exactly to her how she does you. Fairly categorize things. You tease your girl. You know what I mean? If she's broke as hell, but she's bad, tell her, you are lucky you are bad because you are broke as hell and I always have to pay for shit. You know what I mean? Tell her some shit like that. If she's kind of goofy, and she's kind of silly and she can't read, be like, man, you must have just had two good looking dumb parents because you can't spell worth of, you know what I mean? Say some shit like that. Like call it out and fairly put it into perspective and tease on her so she can fairly assess herself. Don't pedestalize her. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you do this maliciously. You don't do this with any hint of maliciousness in it, because that's going to hurt her feelings. Not that I'm against hurting a woman's feelings, but you don't ever hurt a girl's feelings for the sake of hurting her feelings. I'll hurt her feelings to make a point if that's what it takes to make my point. But, for example, like if a girl's got a big ass head, it's completely okay to make fun of their head. You know what I mean? Tell her she got a big ass head. Be like, yeah, you're cute. You know what I mean? I got to kind of hold the door open for you when you get in to make sure that big ass head doesn't hit the roof. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. Or every once in a while, when you're coming up to a speed bump, slow down a little bit and be like, I'm going to go over this real slow because I don't want you to bump your big ass head on the roof of my car. She's going to say, shut up, you're stupid. She's going to hit you on the shoulder or whatever, playing with you. But you got to fairly assess these girls and deal with them accordingly. Because if you just get caught up in the whole, this bitch is so bad, how am I ever going to replace her? I'll never have another one like this again. That's exactly what's going to happen. She's going to go. You got to fairly assess things. Don't think that beauty is the only measurement you can put up against a girl. Don't think that beauty is the only thing that matters. And in reality, truthfully, being pretty is pretty much one of the most useful things a girl can do. But that doesn't matter. Whatever is fair to call out, if she's rude sometimes in public or something, then say that shit. You know what I mean? You don't have to just say it for no reason, but you're saying it because she needs to get fairly assessed on the fact that she ain't really all that, you know? And if she is all that, it's okay to tell her she's all that sometimes, you know? Don't tell her it all the time. She's going to get real tired of hearing it. If there's one thing girls get tired of, it's too many compliments. They talk about how much they love compliments. They talk about how they love getting gassed up by their dude, blah, blah, blah. And it's okay to gas a girl up. It's okay to tell your girl she's fine as a motherfucker. I tell my girl she's fine every time she sends me a picture. I'll tell the girl she's fine every time she calls me. I'll answer the phone and be like, "What's up with your fine ass?" That's completely okay. But it's the soft ass simp type of compliments. It's the simp behavior. It's that soft shit. Girls don't like that soft shit. They like a motherfucker that's cold. So when I'm telling you guys, you have to fairly put these girls in perspective of who they are and play that shit accordingly. That's basically the opposite lesson from what I was just telling you guys a minute ago about fairly assessing a girl and treating them accordingly. Girls don't like to be treated better than they deserve. That's the same thing with these fine broads. They don't want to be treated like they're God's gift to the world because guaranteed these pretty girls got just as much insecurity as the mid girls. You get these plain girls, you know, they're playing and there's a girl in the gym over there at the corner who has a fat ass, pretty face, perfect body, you know, and everyone, all the girls at the gym are like, dang, I wish I could look like her. Well, that girl in the corner, she's over here looking at the girls on the explore page on her Instagram, and she's mad she doesn't look like those girls. So every girl gets humbled by other girls. They all get put into perspective. It doesn't matter. The ugly girls want to look like mid girls. The mid girls want to look like hot girls. The hot girls want to look like fine girls. You know, the fine girls want to look like overly fine girls. But they all, and then the overly fine girls want to sing. They want to dance. They want to have some type of talent. So they all have some type of shortage of like self-esteem. They all have some type of void there. So if you're over here treating them like they're great, they don't want that, dude. They want to be treated exactly as they deserve to be treated. And that's up to you to see the girl, see how she deserves to be treated, and then play that shit accordingly.
And the one thing you talked about with the good looking woman, that is so true. And I would say that, especially with what I found personally from my experience of being both in England and America, like the best looking women, they're the most insecure because their entire value is based upon their looks. In the sense of because they're so good looking, especially the ones who have been good looking since from a young age, they don't typically have a personality. They don't typically have kind of any insight or anything because their entire value, their entire kind of preconception of themselves is how the way they look. So if they have a day where they have one pimple on their cheek, they feel like they're the ugliest girl in the world because they're not looking as how they usually are. And that's also why people wonder, how does this quote unquote ugly guy get this absolute dime? Because it goes back to what you were saying earlier about he treats her the way that she feels like she should be treated. As opposed to most guys who see a dime as like, okay, wow, she's so beautiful. I'm gonna treat her like a queen. I'm gonna treat her like she's the best woman in the world, and she's gonna know that. This guy treats her as she actually is. And because she has that low self-esteem, that's not to say that every good looking woman has low self-esteem, but a lot of them, because their self-esteem is so premedicated upon their looks, they have this kind of constant underlying like doubt within themselves. And that's also why they also seek the attention, and that's why they seek the validation. That's a whole another thing that we could talk about for a
Yep.
long time. But
Take away their weapon, man.
exactly.
Take away their weapon.
You have to like minimize what they have over you, especially, or what they have over other men, especially because you got to think the average guy, if they see a woman like Kylie Jenner, for example, if she was walking in the street, they'll literally have their jaw on the floor and hand in their pants because they've never seen a woman so beautiful and she's a goddess, whatever. But if you treat her as she wants to be treated or as she knows she's meant to be treated, that's how you get those type of women. You don't pedestalize, you don't ever get into the mindset of, oh, she's so beautiful, she's the best woman I've ever had. And I literally made a post on this the other day that whenever you see a man say, I'm so lucky to have her, you can literally see his soul leave his body because his mind has got so warped to the fact that his kind of manhood is lesser than her beauty. And once that kind of dynamic is set, then I gave to say it's game over, but it's so true. Like once that kind of thing takes place in a man's mind, it's destined to fail essentially.
He played her value above his. And when the day comes where they see you playing your value above theirs, they're gonna believe their value is above theirs, and then they're gonna lose interest. It's that simple, you know. Like if I see an overly
Absolutely.
fine, if I see an overly fine broad, you know what I mean. Whether in person, on the internet, I don't really do a lot of like approaching girls on the internet. I don't do a lot of like opening dialogues with girls because, in my experience, I just don't really like it. You know, I'll get better results in person anyways when a girl can't hide behind her likes, hide behind her profile, hide behind her filters. I'll catch the bitch, you know, in public, at Target, you know, wherever we're at the mall, you know, I'll go talk to them like that. But even on the internet, like if a girl posts like, you know, say like a girl, you know, likes one of my pictures and then, you know what I mean, or likes one of my comments on some kind of thread and then, you know, responds back with something and then follows me, you know what I mean? Follow her back. I see they'll have a little story or whatever. I'll just pop off in the story like, yeah, you're cute, but can you cook? You know what I mean? I'll say some shit like that, something to that effect. Because what it does is it's like you're giving them a compliment, they're gonna respond, but at the same time, you're telling them like what's really good. You know, yeah, you're all right, but what's really going on? And what you did right there is you put her on your level. You know, you're not below her. Oh, pretty, gorgeous, beautiful. That's what that's doing is that's making you a fan. You know, that's making you below her, speaking up to her. You're speaking up to her as if she was God. You know what I mean? She's above you, is what those kinds of comments do. When you say something like, hey, what are you by chance? And then she'll respond, oh, you know, I'm white and Mexican. Oh, I could tell you're Mexican because you got that big old Dora the Explorer head. And then she's gonna laugh. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna like catch her on a that's gonna catch her on like an equal level, you know, because you're teasing her. If anything, it's gonna put her automatically in the whole I gotta prove myself to this guy. So what you're doing is you're just basically playing down her value. And it's not so much that you're playing down her value like she doesn't deserve to be treated like she's pretty, you know. But what it is it's acknowledging that she's pretty, but it's putting you in a position where, yeah, you're pretty, but I'm still gonna get at your ass. And it's pushing all that shit to the side, all the compliment, all the you whole approaching her, and it's putting her in a position where she has to banter back. Women love that shit, man. You're gonna get more results by saying some shit like that. You know, if a girl's it doesn't matter. Like if it's a gym girl, one of these girls that post at the gym or something like that, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter what you say. You could say something like, you know, yeah, you're cute, but how much did you actually lift that day? You know, yeah, you're cute, but was that the only set you did? You know, it doesn't matter what you say as long as you're kind of playing something down. It puts you in the position where you guys are equals. When you just open up with the compliment, then it doesn't really work. And then to the opposite effect, even though I just said opening up with the compliment ain't gonna work, at the same time, sometimes when I'm in public and I see an overly fine girl, I will just walk right up to her and be like, God damn, okay, look, I'm just gonna come right out with it, baby. You about the finest thing I've seen all fucking day, and I'll kill myself if I don't get your number. And then she's gonna say something like, oh, I got a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna say, you know what? I ran a red light to get here, as a matter of fact. She's going to look at you kind of confused, and you're going to be like, oh, I just wanted to let you know that if the red light ain't going to stop me, your boyfriend damn sure ain't. Then she's going to laugh. You know, you start off, if you are going to compliment her, then you go hard and you go all the way. You commit. Don't give a half-ass compliment. If you are going to compliment her and that's how you're going to open, you open up hard. You know, you open up real hard. I don't know if you got any
Absolutely.
sisters, but I bet you're the prettiest one. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. You know what I mean? Excuse me, honey. Me and my friend right here, we're gamblers. And I got a bet going on with him, and I wanted to see if you could help it. She's going to say, well, what's going on? Well, I bet him $50 that Mother Nature is your aunt and you're her favorite niece. What's your name, baby? Because I'd imagine it's got to be something like Jasmine or Celeste or something to match how you look. Oh, no, it's Jenny. Her name's Jenny. Oh, man. Okay, Jenny. You know what I mean? Let me talk to you, Jenny. You know, you could really just you don't walk up to a girl, you know, who's got a nice body, who's super thick, got a fat ass. You don't walk up to her and say, damn, you got a fat ass, are you thick? You walk up to her and you say something like, damn, baby, you so thick, you're like a blizzard cup. I bet if I flipped you down, you wouldn't pour out. And she's gonna laugh. You know what I mean? Like you gotta commit all the way if you're gonna open up like that. But don't ever just open up with a lame ass comment. For those of you guys that don't got it like that, and you can't approach a girl with some shit like that, like I can, well, then you're better off just playing down her beauty. Being like, yeah, you fine, but can you cook? Yeah, you're fine, but what do you do for a living? You know what I mean? You gotta just open up like that. But then at the same time, I'll tell you guys this. There's gonna be some information I'll give you, and then I'm gonna tell you the exact opposite thing. And I'm not even gonna bother explaining to you why it's the case. But just like I said, don't open up with the compliment or play on the compliment. You know, start off with the compliment, but then downplay it. Like, but can you cook? But what do you do for a living? You know, something like that. You can also approach with the compliment, but if you're going to approach with the compliment, you got to do it like I said. You got to go on and you got to play hard. You know, you got to walk up to her and say some shit like, damn, baby, you're so fine. If you told me you was a Muslim right now, I'll throw away all the pork in my house. You know, she's going to laugh her ass off at that. And that's not even a lame ass compliment. She's going to dig that. That's how you tell a bitch she's fine. You know, you don't tell her, oh, you're cute, gorgeous. You tell her, God damn, if you ain't the finest bride I've ever seen, tell her, you know what? I just got off the airplane from Dubai right now. You're the first girl I've seen in this country. And I got to say, so far, this country has the most beautiful women I've ever seen. You know what I mean? You say some shit like that. That's how you compliment, if you're going to compliment. I just thought I'd share a little bit of that with you guys. You know, we talk so much about this high power man shit. We don't really talk to you guys about what you should be saying to these girls.
And in terms of that, can you break down the difference between a compliment such as that and the pickup line?
I don't know, man. Um, when you pop it like I pop it, it's a sword, you know. The sword is the expression of how you swing it, you know. If I have a sword and I swing it, I'm gonna cut you. If I got a fucking pencil in my hand, I'm gonna cut you. You know, it don't really matter if it's a pencil or a sword. I'm still gonna use that motherfucker the same way. So whether it's a soft compliment, you know, whether it's some slick shit, whether it's some really slick shit, I'm gonna deliver it the same way because it's me delivering it. You know what I mean? You gotta know who you are. You gotta kind of know your personality. You know, there's some guys that have like smooth. Hey, girl, what's up? Where you going right now? I just thought you were really pretty. I wanted to come over here and talk to you. Well, anyways, you look busy, but I would like to get your number. Is that all right? Oh, you got a boyfriend? Hey, what's his number? I want to call him up and ask if I can have your number. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. Like just talk to her. You know, if that's your style, that's who you are, then do that. If you're if you're, you know, like if you're a gangster motherfucker, you know, you're the kind of guy that has a bunch of tattoos, you look kind of hood, you look kind of thuggish, then that's how you should approach. You know, just go with what you know, go with what you are, you know. Just have bad intentions. You gotta always have bad intentions. You gotta always have bad ass intentions. You gotta swing to hit. You know, I don't go up to a girl and I'm walking up to her, oh, I wonder if she's gonna love. Oh, what if I stuck? Blah, blah, blah. No, I pump myself up before I go and walk up to her. I tell myself, this bitch is yours. You got this shit. Look, she doesn't even know it yet, and she's yours already. Oh man, it's over for this bitch. No mistakes, you slick motherfucker. No mistakes. No mistakes, you slick motherfucker. You got this. Then I walk up to her. By the time I told myself that, you know, I walk up to the girl. It doesn't really matter what I say because it's gonna come out right. You know, I've walked up to girls and hit them with the hard compliments. I've walked right up to girls before, stood there for a second, just looked at them, had them look at me, you know what I mean? Didn't say shit for a second. And then I'll be like, you know, I came over here and talked to you right now. Yeah, you know why. So my name is, you know, so and so. Just start talking to her. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter how you approach. There's not a right way to approach. There's damn sure a lot of wrong ways. But there's things you guys could try right now. I could tell you guys, this is what you say, this is what you do. And some of you guys will go out and you'll do it and it won't work. You know, you could give me the pickup lines. Now, I think pickup lines are gay. I think all that stuff's gay.
For
But I could walk up with the pickup line. I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I'd find a way to make it work. I couldn't. Oh, I don't know. You know what? That's probably the one thing that don't work. I'm trying to think of how I can make a pickup line work right now. But I don't think I could, dude. Like anything that just seems like rehearsed.
yeah,
It ain't
too
even about
scripted.
easy. Like if it seems scripted, you guys gotta be all organic and all natural. You know, that's what it's gotta be. It's gotta be organic to you. You guys can't really walk up to a girl. Well, some of you guys probably can. Some of you guys probably could walk up to a bitch and say, you're so fine. If you told me you're a Muslim, I'll throw away all the pork in my house. Some of you guys probably could pull that shit off. You know, and more power to you if you can. Shit, because I pull it off. So don't tell me the shit don't work. And don't come up in here if you try to pop my lines and it don't work, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear if you guys tell me my lines don't work because they sure as fuck work to me. I don't want you guys in the comments saying that stuff didn't work. It sure does work. You guys just got to figure out what's organic to you. You guys got to figure out what's organic to you, and you guys just got to play off that. You know, some guys have nervous game. I got a friend who like he walks up to the girls and he gets like nervous. He gets like shy. You know, he'll walk up like, "Hi, uh, you're pretty, and my name's Dave," and he'll just shake their hand and stuff, and these girls will be like, "Oh, you're so cute. Are you nervous?" He'll be like, "I'm not nervous." You know, he'll start. He's nervous as hell. All that shit that you guys think would ruin it for you. These girls will sit there and be like, "So what are you doing here right now?" They'll sit there and they'll have a talk with him because at the end of the day, he's still approached and he's still talking to him. And he's not even really like that unless he's approaching a fine girl. Like normally the guy can talk just fine, but something about approaching, he just gets nervous. And he has that nervous energy. But see, his nervous energy isn't coward nervous energy. It's just nervous energy. You know, that's just who he is. But he's still, that don't stop him. And he does very well for himself in that department, getting girls, you know? So you just have to kind of know your energy. And a lot of you guys, you could think you know your energy right now, but a lot of you guys probably have secret game and don't even know it. You know, start going out and talking to girls, and you're gonna find out if you're slick or not. You know, there's a lot of you guys listening to this right now that are slick and don't even know it because you're too scared. You're too scared to go talk to a girl. You're not going to go to the mall and talk to that cute girl you like, even though there's a fucking 50-50 chance she's going to give you her number. You're still not going to do it just because I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you won't go do it. There's a lot of you guys that are slick and you don't even realize it. And that's the sad thing. That's the saddest part when you have all that potential and you just don't even use it. But long story short, you guys got to know who you are, and you guys just got to play your game accordingly, you know? And it's okay to try new things. It's okay to try different approaches and try different philosophies. But as far as that pickup shit goes, that's not the way to go. It's just not, you know, especially online. I would recommend you guys don't try to do things online. You guys want to go on Tinder, and going back to that stuff that I was telling you guys about trying to do things the easy way. Why do you think you're on Tinder? Why do you think you're on Hinge and Bumble? Because it's the easy way. You know, you just pay $19.99 and do whatever else you do. You know what I mean? Figure out all whatever's going on. That shit ain't gonna do nothing for you. How's that gonna make you better at approaching women? You know, how's that gonna make you better at talking to women? You know, getting matches. That shit's gay, man. Go out, approach girls. You know, do the groundwork now. When you break the anxiety of cold approaches, when you break the anxiety of approach and rejection, then you can move on to the whole, you're talking to a girl for 2 or 3 days and she says some shit you really don't like, so you cut her off, you get past that, you get to the relationship stuff, you get to learn who you are. You guys are only going to learn who you are by going out there and working.
And one of the things that you said was to go and try out new things. It's a case of, and you spoke, use that example of your friend Dave. Everyone's game is different. So someone might listen to the podcast right now and use that Muslim line on someone, and they might get slapped in the face because they're being something that they're not. So the whole kind of thing that we've talked about and what I mentioned, you have to be authentic to who you are. Me personally, I'm very nonchalant in the way that I move and the way that I carry myself. So I'll be going up to women in some like just chill vibe, just like trying to get to know them type stuff. But it's the case of some people might be more bubbly, so then they can say the outrageous stuff, or they might be bolder or like more outlandishly bolder to where they can say that kind of like that Muslim line is hilarious. I've never heard about it before in my life. I was creasing, but it's like you have to know the game that you're playing. You have to know the kind of player that you are. You can't be the type to where you're chill or even like low key shy and you're going to approach one with that kind of the Muslim line because she's gonna look at you like you're a goofball because you are a goofball. You're trying to be something that you're not. So you have to understand who you are as a person and then use that to your advantage. And there's some way in which your characteristics or your kind of personality can be used to your advantage in some kind of way. So if you're bubbly, you can approach in that kind of bubbly kind of way. If you're nonchalant, you can approach in that nonchalant kind of way. If you're funny, you can pull off a joke and then go in that kind of way. You have to understand the the essence of who you are and then use that. And that's like your unfair advantage in a sense. You talked about when people are like lying or not lying, but like sleeping on their potential because they're trying to be something they're not, or they're not willing to kind of go through the experience or go through the failure of really discovering who that is through the, whether it's approaching 100 women and failing. Not to say you should do that. I'll just say again as an example to where it might be over a month period where you're approaching and just constantly failing until you something switches, you have a like epiphany, and then that's when you're like locked into your authentic energy and everything just seems to work, everything seems to fall into your lap. And that's the kind of thing that you really have to double down on and find, especially if you want to, and that applies to anything, right? Let's say in sales, for example, if you're a salesman, you're not going, some person might sell in a very authoritative way, some person might sell in a very kind of dismissive way. And that's not to say one is better than the other, but one's more authentic to that person, the other is more authentic to the other person. So you have to find what that is for you and then double down on that. But I can't lie, this has been a great podcast episode. And we're gonna wrap it up with, so I told one guy on my Discord that I was gonna break down all of his texts with his woman because he sent some texts in and they were kind of goofy and I wanted to get on to him, I was gonna roast him, but then I felt kind of bad and yeah, the text. So I'll put them on the screen and it's talking about he's asking a woman how many partners that she's had, and it's funnily enough, it's this whole kind of conversation where at the end of the text he says a man is more interested in a woman's past while a woman is interested in a man's future. Never once a woman was praised for being promiscuous. And for anyone who's watched Andrew Tate knows that's something that Andrew Tate essentially said word for word. And that's a lot of the problem with his kind of the modern kind of culture. People take what people say and then go and instantly imply it, and then they haven't like done like the groundwork or even kind of have that understanding of why Andrew Tate is saying that and the way to apply it to the life. Just go out and say it, and that's the kind of thing that you can't just outright say to a woman because not only does it make you look goofy, but it doesn't even sound right. Like, why would you even be saying to a woman what are you trying to achieve with that kind of thing? So, in terms of, I mean, if you can touch on it quickly, Tony, how would you say is the best way to ask a woman for how many partners she's been with?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't ask. I don't ask because I don't care. And I'll answer your question, but I just want to kind of go over something real quick. When you guys ask these girls how many partners she has, she's gonna know that that means something to you. She's gonna know that that answer is important. And here's your two choices. Either A, she's gonna say she has three partners. She's gonna lie to you. She's gonna say that she's had three partners when in reality she's had 30. You know, she's going to tell you that she has three because just for the fact that you're asking her the question, she already knows why you're asking the question. And she already knows that you're going to lose respect for her if she tells you the real number. So she's going to lie. And then you're going to think she's so great because she only has three bodies, not knowing she's lying. And then you're going to get with a liar who's a hoe. Or B, some girl's going to look you straight in the eyes, tell you the honest to God truth, you know, oh, I've got 22 partners, and you're going to be sick to your stomach because you can't handle that type of shit. Now, we don't have to agree on, you know, this topic because I know most guys are passionate about this topic, and girls with high body counts can't have marriages and be good wives and all this and that. I think you guys should focus more on learning how to turn a loser into a winner. You know, that's what I think you guys should focus on, learning how to turn a loser into a winner, learning how to take a woman and just take her for what she is now and start from today. Focus on what things are, not what you want them to be. And I think you guys should just work with the women that you have now. Now, that's not to say there's some outrageous body counts out there. You know what I mean? And I've had some girls who were disgusting try to say that they had 4 or 5 bodies before. And I didn't even ask. They just, oh, I can count on one hand the men I've had sex with. And then I'm like, wait, hold up. Me, Dante, Jesse, Mike. Hold on, bitch. That means I took your virginity, you know? I've seen that. I've seen girls lie about their body count in outrageous ways. And you guys who ask this question are basically just setting yourself up to either get lied to and treat some girl who's a hoe but lied to you great because she lied and said she had a low body count, or you're likely going to hear some number like 15 or 20, which in my opinion, 20 is really not bad. To you guys who have low body counts or something, that might sound outrageous to you. That might make you sick to your stomach to imagine that 20 different dudes have stuck their dick in your girl. But to me, I don't ask the question because I really don't want to know and I don't really care. But if you guys really want to know, then get to know the girl.
Absolutely.
Behavior is going to show how many bodies she has. I really genuinely believe that asking that question is a bad way to go because she's probably going to lie to you if it's a serious number. She's going to lie to you. You know, if she has promiscuous pictures on her profiles and she acts outgoing, loud, she's really comfortable in public places, being drunk and acting a mess in public, she's probably got a high body count. You know, do you want to know how to know if a girl has a low body count? She's still shy. You know what I mean? And even then, that's not a foolproof method. But girls that are really shy, you know, that don't really speak out for themselves, they like you to order for them. Those are the girls that generally don't have a lot of experience. The loud, boisterous, obnoxious girls, the louder and the more obnoxious, the higher the body count. Ah, you know, I always say you got to learn how to make a winner out of a loser. Now, for those of you guys that have two or three bodies and you're looking exclusively for a wife, hearing that, you probably ain't gonna like that answer. But I don't know what to tell you. You know, the average girl, if you're 22, the average girl's probably got 15 bodies. You know, and if you want to be that guy who gets the girl that's a virgin or has one or two bodies because she was in a relationship from the time she was 16 the whole time, blah blah blah. If you guys want to be, you know, with that 1% of girl, then you got to be that 1% of guy. And if you want to be
Mm-hmm.
that 1% of guy who can get that virgin, who can get that, you know, pure little chast, you know, proper girl, I'll tell you this: if you can't get a hoe to like you, you ain't gonna get the virgin to like you either. The thing is, me, for example, I can get, you know, I can get a drunk bar fly to like me. I can get these girls at the club to like me. I can get these girls at the mall to like me. So I'll have no problem getting one of these girls who are, you know, trad, virgin, whatever you guys want to call it. I'll have no problem getting one of them to like. Focus on being able to get girls to like you. That's what you guys need to focus on. When the right one comes, you'll know. I don't recommend you answer that question for the reasons that I mentioned. But if you are going to answer the question, just tell the girl like this: look, I've kind of got standards for who I mess with, and I just want to know if you've had a promiscuous past. You know, and how they answer that question, they're either going to say, well, what do you define promiscuous? Or they're going to say, no, I've only slept with four guys. You know what I mean? And anything other than, hell no, I haven't. You know what I mean? Anything other than that, she has. And then anything after that is probably not going to be the truth. Now, do you guys want to go back to what I said earlier in the day where I said becoming the man versus wanting to appear like you're going to become the man? You want to become the man? Build a lining in your stomach to be able to hear that your girl has been fucked before. You know what I mean? Build a lining in your stomach to accept the fact that she's loved another man before, that another man has drilled her before, and she liked it, and she told him she loved him while it was happening. You know what I mean? Get past that now because it's going to make you a better man. Simple as that. That's gang.
That's interesting because this is one of the things that me and Tony differ on. Because I'm the type, and obviously it comes down to what your kind of importance of what you're looking for in a woman. So Tony says he don't care. I'm the type where I do care. For me personally,
Hold on. To say I don't care, like I said, if a girl has some disgusting, outrageous, you know, I'm not going to deal with that shit. But just, you also don't know. But I didn't, just to clear there, I didn't say I don't care. I just
that's
said
my
I
bad.
don't care
It's,
as much.
okay, it's a level of importance then in terms of for you it might be something else that's more important, whereas for someone else like me, for example, it's one of the things where it's very important. It's like if she has more of an X amount, but it's like I want to speak to you, get out of my face type thing. So that's my bad. If I should have phrased or framed it in a way where it's how important is that to you in terms of if it's over, let's say 10, for example, would that mean you wouldn't take it seriously? Or is it a case of if she was everything you could ever dream for, but she had a body count of 43, how would that make you feel? What would you do? Are you willing to stomach that? Or is it one case of you willing to keep it pushing? That's something that you have to decide. So in terms
That's
of
true.
me, of what I do to discern, so obviously as Tony said, you can essentially tell by the way that she acts, the way that she moves. Because if, as you said, if she's boisterous and just like outlandish, she's probably a hoe. If she's got tattoos, she's probably a hoe. If she's got a bunch of red piercings, same kind of thing. like the way that she looks, the way that she moves, the way that she talks, all of that's giving you an indication. But in terms of actually directly asking her, so I found personally, and again, I remember when I sent Tony a screenshot of the woman I asked, and he's like, "What were you expecting?" I was just like, "Damn." I asked one woman one time, and she said 17. I said, "Whoa," and yeah, that's just a whole situation of itself. But in terms of actually asking for a woman to tell you the truth, she has to be comfortable with you. You have to build rapport with her to where she feels like you're not going to judge her, and the key word being feels like, as in as in she feels like, okay, if I tell him this number, he's not going to judge me. But I mean, me personally, I'll be judging, but I might not say it, or I might say it, but she has to have she has to have that on an impression that, okay, if I tell him this number, then he's not going to cuss me out. And it might be a case of you just kind of keep it pushing, but if you can kind of build that kind of situation to with her to where she actually like trusts you, and obviously it's not going to be one of the things that you can ask after a week or a month. You actually have to like get to know the woman, assess her kind of morals, assess her characteristics, all that kind of thing, and then that's when you can ask the kind of question. But I mean, as Tony said, it honestly just depends on your level of importance. If you feel like it's important to you, do what you gotta do. If you feel like it's not, again, do what you gotta do. But that's the end of this episode of The Dose. And if you got this far, shouts out to you. You're a real one. And do you have anything to plug, Tony?
Yeah, check it out, you guys. As you develop in this game, you're gonna learn more things and other things that might seem important to you today. There might be some things that we've said in episode 1 or 2, and they might have really resonated with you. They might have been real heat. There might have been a bunch of things we said that kind of just blew in one ear and out the other. They didn't really mean anything to you. You guys got to go back and you got to listen to these things again periodically, because there's going to be things that you just weren't there yet. You just weren't ready to hear yet, or they didn't have significance yet. And then you're going to go back with more experience and you're going to realize what we're telling you. This shit we're spitting here is high tech game, you guys. There's nothing that we've said here is not fire. So if you didn't see it as fire or accept it as fire, that don't mean it's not fire. You need to go back and you need to periodically listen to these episodes again. There's things you're going to miss. And as time goes on, a month, 2 months, whatever, there's going to be things you develop that you need to go back and pick up. As far as that, I got gaslightacademy.gumroad.com. You guys buy my book. For anybody that buys my book, send T a proof of purchase, and I will give you a short consolation call, a coaching call, if you will. You know, we can touch on any subject that you want, just a little short touch up, you know what I mean? Introduction to things for all of you guys that go out and buy my book, gaslightacademy.gumroad.com.
Cool,
And
I'll
that's
get that
it.
linked. I'll get that linked. I'll put it in the description. And yeah, as you said, send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter with your purchase, and I'll make sure that that's done for you. In terms of myself, just follow me on Instagram, Young Alpha Kings underscore, Twitter, Young Alpha Kings. If you want to purchase my books, the game, the feel my nature, that's all in the link in my bio. But as Tony said, listen to this podcast at least 3 times. That's the number, at least 3 times. And then once you listen to it 3 times, right, you should be writing down notes throughout those times, and then come back to it in a month, come back to it in 2 months. Because by then, if you're constantly leveling up your game, you'll be able to see different things. You have different perspectives. You have different kind of understandings to where things will slowly begin to make sense. How I never forget, I told Tony one time, damn, everything's making sense now. I had like an epiphany moment to where all the stuff that, because for a lot, I remember at the start, a lot of things he said was blowing right over my head. Nothing is making sense. But then you have to constantly be piecing the jigsaw together until eventually you create this masterpiece, or everything that comes together. It's like, damn, everything makes sense now. And then from there, that's when you just take it to a next level. And then again, after that next level, you have another epiphany, and then you have another moment where things are flying over your head. And it's like, but the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire, and that's just a case of they're just operating at different levels of game. And the difference between a millionaire and a broke person. So you have to constantly be leveling up. There's no time to ever let up. There's no time to ever be comfortable where you're at. Constantly be leveling up. Constantly be elevating. But anyways, have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Dig that.